everyone. Thanks for joining us for Politically Incorrect Knitters. This is take 2 or 3 at this point because we had some technical difficulties, but we are here. I am Deplorable Knitter. We are joined as always by the wonderful Ann Pinkova. Hi, Ann.
Hello. And this episode, all episodes are sponsored by Lynn of Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. You can go to chickenladyfiberarts.com and not only get her newsletter that will tell you about beautiful new yarns. She has a flower of the month that she just came out with, all sorts of wonderful things. But you can get 20% off your order with May's code, which is military20 PIK.
Yep, exactly. And she's got the prettiest yarns.
She does, and the softest. This month's giveaway is called Rapunzel, but it's 80% merino, 10 cashmere, and 10 nylon. So it is beautifully soft, but also, it holds up really nicely for different things. And go check her out.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful yarn.
New podcast too that she just started one.
Yeah, I still haven't done it. I forgot to check it out. We talked about it and then I didn't write it down. And I'm learning. If I don't write something down, it doesn't exist. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, like me, make sure you check out her new podcast. I assume it's about yarn and knitting.
No, she has, I forget the name of the author, but that did the book of like state parks, but in hats. And she was showing off a bit of that book and saying about the project she wants to do.
I just straight up can't hear Ann. I hope you all can.
Okay.
We have had some real issues today trying to get on. I don't know what's going on exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So if y'all can hear Ann, super let us know in the comments because that whole spiel was just
nothing.
It sounded like you were underwater.
Oh,
so
bummer.
Yeah. But if you all can hear her, we'll get through it. Want to talk knitting? Knitting doesn't require much, we can fake that part till we make it. So do you want to start?
Earring for knitting? Well, I did here. So this is a hat that I've been working on. This is the Legion of Memers logo, which is pretty funny. Like, this cracks me up because I'm going to be on the midweek hump again with Horror Amarata and the rest of them on the Shagworth YouTube channel. That's quite a thing. But yeah, it's going to be on Wednesday at 10 p.m. Central, so it's a little late for me, but that's all right. So I thought I'd make something to show off to the nerds. So I made, and on the show is also like the head of the Legion of Memers. So they are absolutely hilarious, but they'll meme anybody and they're very good at it. So I thought their logo deserved a hat. And
cool.
They can't hear me at all.
No, I can hear you. And I heard some of it. I honestly just don't know what's going on today.
Okay.
It's one of those days. I'm sorry, guys.
All right.
Jean wants to know if that Rapunzel colorway will coordinate with our Deplorable Knitter colorway. Not Deplorable Knitter, but our PIK Knitter.
Hang on.
She's got some. Let's see.
Because it is in a different base, though. But I'm betting that if it was in the same base, that would be pretty nigh on close. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think it complements each other at least.
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody said you sound like you're staying too far away from your mic, so maybe it's not totally just me, but
that's true. It's the same mic as always, guys. I don't know.
Don't you hate it when stuff doesn't work? Like, we do the same exact thing every time, and it's like,
not sure.
Today is like nope, it's not your day. That's fine.
No, it's okay. It was all that way this morning also. So I think it's just, cosmic space wedgie, and we got to keep plugging on.
Yeah. So did you work on anything else, or did you just manage to make one totally unique hat? I mean, come on, Ann.
Well, yeah, actually pretty much it. Yeah, I did do that. I managed to do one of the worst mending jobs on a pair of socks. So, let's see.
How do you know it's the worst? I bet there's been worse.
Probably, but like that's not good.
Yeah, no, I've seen better.
Yeah, and then you turn it inside out, and like that is, yeah, that's nothing to be proud of. But I knit this pair of socks for someone, and then their dog found it and ripped a hole in the
Oh
brand
no.
new hand knit sock. So I'm like, it's okay, I'll mend it. It's like, I mean, I did mend it, but this is a skill that definitely needs work because yeah, it's kind of painful. But they're done. I'll probably end up giving her more socks. Like, look, fixing a hole, I had knitting the whole thing, fine. Just don't let your dog get near it.
That's funny. I was supposed to mend a pair of socks for somebody whose dog ate them, and she never brought them to me. I should ask her what happened with that. She didn't want to ask the friend who had made them because she had asked for so long to get a pair of socks, and then her puppy got them, and she's like, I feel bad. Like, I don't want her to know that they got ruined immediately. So,
Right.
I get it. Cool. So, what the heck, man?
I don't know.
I'm new and it's my first day. So, I've showed you guys this hat a few times, and I have been really bad about publishing patterns. I have like 4 patterns that need to just be put up. I'm not doing it. I don't know why. I haven't written it down. That's why. So, but I've talked about this hat a few times. It's a twisted rib hat with some little cables and things. This pattern is charted, and it's written. So if you don't like to knit with charts, it's really, really pretty. It's really fabulous. This yarn is from Revolution Yarns, and I called it I can't remember. Candy Cables Beanie. I called it the Candy Cables Beanie because this color is kind of like candy-like, and then it's got all these speckles of like different things on it, and it's just super sweet. So I got that, and then this one went out this week. And this is another pattern that you guys should be getting out, but I haven't done it. So this is a baby version of my Latvian braid hat because every baby needs a tiny hat with a Latvian braid.
Of course.
And then this is the one my mom knit with like these super amazingly bright colors. It's made with Yarn Cafe Creations mini skeins. And that's my version. I've showed this off like several times, but I finally actually finished the whole thing. It didn't take me that long. It was just getting there. But this guy is also Yarn Cafe Creation. So that's some fun stuff. I swear I'm going to put some patterns out soon. And then I'm working on this guy. And this, I think this is the back. Hard to tell. But this is a sweater for my niece who is going to be 1 next month. Aww. And her mom wanted a sweater. She's seen them like on Instagram or whatever with the kid's name embroidered on it and then like flowers embroidered around it. So I'm knitting just a basic raglan sweater. The example she showed me had long sleeves, but I'm making short sleeves because the baby's birthday is at the end of June, and I'm like, you don't want to put your baby in a long sleeve sweater at the end of June. They'll be on fire. So
right.
So that's what I'm working on. And my 7-year-old has been knitting. So they actually did a few rounds on it because I said, don't you want to help me make your cousin's sweater? Won't that be sweet? So that was really fun. We did that together yesterday.
Aww.
So that's what I've been working on. I've actually been getting some stuff done, which is fun. I went through a phase there for, I don't know, several months where I was barely like doing any sort of knitting. So like to have all these things that are done and like pretty and happy. Now, if only I could publish the patterns, but one step at a time. So I've knit them. I have the patterns written. I just need to disperse them to the greater audience, and I will work on that. So that's my knitting. Oh, and then I was telling Anne, I was rushing to get here. I was a tiny bit late, which is not usually the case. Usually it's our other friend, but I was at a local wool. It was called, I don't know, it was some wool event. And it was at a local church. And so I got two skeins, these two skeins of pink. It's kind of like a chunky yarn, but it's probably more like an Aran because it's not real thick, but it's a little bit thick. So I got two skeins of that and I'm pretty stoked. I'm not sure what it'll be yet. And then I got these two colors, and I would never pick brown, right? Like, we talk about this, brown, no. But it went so nicely with the speckle.
Yeah, it's beautiful together.
It's got green and like some reddish brown tones and a little bit of blue and some yellow. And I actually, while I was driving home, my brain went, oh, I know what that's going to be. So we'll see if it works. But
no,
so
those are beautiful together. And it's kind of like cottagey Christmas a little bit. Like,
I'm sorry?
That the vibe of the colors is sort of like, you know, cottage Christmas.
Yeah. And I actually like this one because it's almost like they put an ivory or an ecru on this base so that it's not natural. It's got color to it,
right?
Which is kind of nice. I think that's part of why I was drawn to the brown with it, even though I'm not a brown person. Right. But yeah, so that's what's up with me and my yarn. So pretty exciting.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm losing it. So we wanted to talk about the CNN town hall.
We did.
Because I hope you guys were watching the CNN town hall. It was fantastic. And I gotta say, I've been on the fence about Trump. I mean, you know, things have been funny. It's a little weird, but it was nice to see him back in action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was definitely peak. I mean, a lot of people have said it's not an original comment, but peak 2016 Trump. It was absolutely beautiful. So, okay, I didn't know. Yes, exactly. Yes. Okay, I didn't know that this town hall was even a thing because who pays attention to CNN? Am I right? But okay, we talked before about the whole Crowder thing, but I because I had signed up for Mug Club, I still get emails and I haven't deleted them yet. But it says, you know, CNN town hall live, and I'm looking at that like, oh wow, it's like even if I was like, okay, you know, Crowder, he normally has good facts. He talks through the whole dang thing. And from what other people said, Tim Pool does the same thing. I don't really catch Tim Pool's. I mean, I'll check into Tim Pool every once in a while, but I'm not, you know, super into it. So I found another guy, one of the Geeks and Gamers crew. I was like, oh, I hope that he does it. It was, the guy's name is Day Cobra is his channel name, but Jeremy is, there's a million Jeremys. He's one of them. But anyways, he's one of those guys where it's like, okay, yeah, it's like, as far, you know, Crowder is fairly foul-mouthed. This guy is pretty much too, but he muted himself whenever Trump was talking. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. And he is very straightforward, very Trumpy, very, you know, this is our guy. What are you saying? And he was crying, laughing through all of that. It was fantastic. But no, Trump himself, sorry, got distracted. Trump himself was just amazing, the whole thing. And Daily Wire, who are pretty never Trumpy, or Ben Shapiro's tweet about it, the half seething reply of, well, of course Trump did well. He set up the point of because Trump is going with a Republican audience, he's going to play to his base, and you only asked him Democrat questions, so bam, he can reply to those easy, and everyone will cheer and laugh. It's like, oh, well, if you'd only asked him Republican questions, he wouldn't have done so well. It's like, yeah, right. The people crying on Twitter of how dare CNN do this. It's dangerous
Yeah.
to democracy to hear other
So,
sides speak. The one guy who basically said that Trump just won the Republican, again, he's crying about this. He is miserable and how awful of CNN. But he admitted that Trump just won the primary with no other people on the stage because of that town hall.
yeah. So, this week I found out something that Ann and I do not have in common. I know you guys think that we're like married and that we agree on everything, but I've started listening to Dan Bongino because Tucker's not on, and I needed somebody to listen to, and Ann does not care for Dan Bongino in the least. But
I'm not a fan.
but you know what? Part of it is that he's available in one of the platforms I use to listen to podcasts, and so you know what? Sometimes for me, I get my news the path of least resistance, because if I have to like try really hard to like go find something on YouTube, I'm not going to do it. I mean, honestly. But what Dan Bongino was talking about was that you can tell how Trump is doing by how the left reacts to him. Like after his announcement to run, nobody really talked about it because it was a nothing burger. Everybody knew what it was going to be. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything great. The fact that everybody is absolutely losing their minds over this CNN town hall tells you how bad it truly was. Like these people are losing their minds because he did so well. And that's I thought that was interesting because I hadn't noticed it before, but I'm also not on Twitter, so I think that might be part of why.
I mean,
But
certainly all of the pundits talked about it when he announced. That was kind of a big thing, and to announce so early. But it's weird now because a lot of people are not announcing that they've almost left it too late. I mean, primary season at all takes forever. It takes stupidly long. But at the same time, it's like, well, now would be the time, anyone and everyone. And DeSantis, who's hoovered up all of the Republican big cat money, he still has announced. And did you hear that little weird head bob that he did when someone asked him, like, hey, you know, you're not doing well against Trump in the polls? He's like, well, I haven't announced yet. It was like a Brie Larson head fake. It was weird. Like, Ron, I like you. Don't be catty. And not only catty, you're catty at so little. Like Trump can be catty, but he's always big and whatever, and he moves on to the next thing. It's like, this is for being the Mr. Reasonable candidate to do this already. Like, what are you doing?
Jean is saying that she likes Dan, but his yelling is exhausting, and I do get that because he gets so very emotional about everything. Mm-hmm. But he was talking about DeSantis, and he was saying that, you know, the thing about DeSantis is that he's kind of a big fish in a small pond, and he's not sure about how he would do in a president kind of position. And I kind of agree with that. And I think that that's part of my thing. He's like, it's kind of almost like he's doing so well in Florida. Why change that? Why risk it? Why make when we still have a good candidate? I don't know. Well, I still don't know where I'm going with all of this. Although after Trump's performance and like the absolute, that woman was just appalled when he said that he would pardon most of the January 6th people, you know, and she's trying to like say all of this stuff, and Trump's like, well, the only person that was killed was Ashley Babbitt, and you know, just he was just on.
And also that she seemed to be so shocked because after all, she has the corner when it comes to kindness and fairness, that she did the voice lilt of, oh yes, like, yes, oh of course I'm sad for Ashley Babbitt, you know, that little thing. It's like, yeah, you didn't want that brought up, honey. And
yeah, and just, she was like, but you said you would pardon the January 6th people, and he's like, yeah, most of them weren't in the wrong, like, and her like harping on that, I think she thought she was gonna like get something over on him, and he's like, no, that's what my base wants.
Yeah, and also his line on, it's like, yeah, they're not gonna, you know, no one's gonna get a fair trial in New York. Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and she was so mad that so the woman that interviewed Trump on CNN, if you didn't know it, I don't know if she must be an anchor for them now, but she started out in entertainment. And so, like, how did she even land the gig of interviewing Trump? Was she the most diverse person they could get for it? Or I'm not sure how she qualified. If
Well,
they,
I know she's on like CNN daytime and stuff. So
yeah,
she,
but I don't know if they
well, they
wanted to
can't
like
have
have a
John
woman.
Levin
Yeah, but I don't know if
or
they wanted
Brian
to have a
Stelter.
woman to like,
Their group is getting a little thin. So,
yeah. But I just think that they were kind of trying to go for like this sassy woman's gonna bring Trump. No, she's not. You can't do it, and especially not with that woman, because all I noticed about her was that she was like argumentative. Well, sir, did you answer the question? No, he's not going to answer your question yes or no, because when he gets into office, if he gets reelected, there will be nuance. He's not going to be held to being said that he is going to do something that he said in a primary 18 months before election, like, you
right.
know. But
Well,
she's
and
trying to get him into the
specifically,
corner, trying to like needle
right.
him.
And specifically, if you haven't seen it, which you should see it, it's just a good time.
It was
Again,
a good time.
I was laughing so hard.
And it was classic Trump. It was those rallies that he had back in the beginning, back when he was like on fire. Like maybe he needed a little break to like get that back. I don't know.
Right.
But
But the specific question was about war between Russia and the Ukraine. It's like, don't you want the Ukraine to win? Don't you? Don't you think Putin is a war criminal? And he said, he's like, look, if you're the president, you have to negotiate. You don't walk into a room and say, hey, Vlad, you're a war criminal. And Vlad says, that's great. Here's a nuke. Like
yeah,
there's no arguing there. And also that people got angry at his reply that it's like, well, who do you want to win? Who do you want to win? He's like, I want the war to end. I want people to stop dying. I want it to be over with. And then
yeah.
it was, I mean, that Trump said it is very good, but it's like, who, who wants to take sides in this stupid, stupid war? And, okay, sure, Russia invaded, bad on Russia. But that, okay, Mr. Zelensky, who is still going around in the green shirt, because if he was wearing a suit like everyone else, you would lose him in a crowd. And after all of the money, the billions, the stupid amount of cash that he's been given from us and from the EU, that was one of the things that Trump is like, hey, the EU should pony up more because, they have a more vested interest being next door neighbors. And I'm still on team. Where is all this money going at
Right.
all? Like, why are we saying we're giving anything? But anyways, he went to Chairman Xi to tell him that he wants this war to end. Okay, China hasn't given the Ukraine anything. So for all of our dollars, what is our influence worth? What have we actually done that he's going to the commies, a different brand of commies from the one he's fighting? Though Russia, different, you know what I mean. Anyways, but he's going to China, not the happy, friendly country, to end this conflict with Russia. That he sees that China is the people who can get stuff done, though China isn't pumping money into his country.
Yeah. I don't know. I missed some of what you said there, but I'm sure it was all very poignant.
Yes, and Jean says in the chat that yes, the broadcast ended 20 minutes
Yeah.
early, like cut the cast.
Yeah, I don't think that they expected him to do as well. And I know that a lot of the people in the audience were people that had voted for Trump, but I don't think they expected the level of support that he had, honestly.
Right. Well, and part of it too is that this is a Republican town hall for the Republican primary. And it's like they didn't actually expect the Republicans to come in and cheer him on and laugh at his jokes.
Yeah.
And also, not to mention, one of the funniest bits was when he was talking about, she brought up that he had just been, he had this lawsuit against him, for abuse and everything. And okay, so I don't know if y'all followed the show closely. We talked a while back about the whole Tim Pool thing with Eliza Blue. Okay, Eliza Blue got on Twitter. She sort of built this reputation about helping human trafficking victims, which everyone's like, great, you're helping human trafficking victims. And she says she was trafficked. And you're like, oh man, that's terrible. And everyone kind of took her at her word, and it didn't. Not that it didn't happen, but the evidence is very thin. Then people were putting video or pictures from a music video that she had when she was like rotting about. And they're like, is this you? It was a publicly available video. And she has some influence in Twitter and was able to take it down and wrote a post about how she was digitally trafficked, and that taking pictures from a public video in which you are in and then distributing those pictures on Twitter means that she's digitally trafficked. Stupidest dang thing. But that is what's going on in the Trump trial right now. That this woman claims that Trump raped her. Okay. Like, oh, wow, that's serious. She can't give a year. Okay.
Well, and she also said that it wasn't actually rape. She admitted that. So he's convicted of sexual assault, but there was actually no rape. So how does that
but
even?
Also, there's no evidence.
Right. And the Trump's response in the town hall was perfect. He's like, in 96, I was big. Do you think I really could have walked into Bergdorf, whatever it was, and done this and nobody would have noticed? He's like, not to be like pompous, but I was like a big deal. Like people would have noticed. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and not only that, but okay, the interviewer lady is like, well, you told your side of the events. It's like, no, Trump was saying her side of the events, what the lady said. And he was saying it with humor, certainly. But still, it's like he just goes through this whole story, and she's like, well, that's just what you say. It's like, well, that's all the evidence she had. It was so stupid. And also, it's like, well, you said she did it, you didn't rape her, and therefore you owe her $5 million. Like, just stupid amount of things. And I don't know, you probably didn't see, but Alex Jones did this thing where he said that, yes, I too, it's like a Me Too moment for Alex Jones. It's like, yes, Trump, I've also been assaulted by Trump. It was terrible. And he's like giggling. He can't stop himself. And he's like, I'd like $5 billion right now, please. Because, he needs it for his own lawsuit. But
yeah.
Anyway.
No, the whole thing is just nutty. Yeah, but it was good to see him back. It was good to see him back on form doing what he does well, because that's, I think, especially after this couple of years of Biden, I mean, people have missed it. And did you see the couple of gaffes this week? I think Biden once said that Obama was in charge, and then Jean-Pierre also said President Obama, and then corrected herself to Biden.
Wow.
So if you were wondering about who's running the show, I mean, they just told you this week twice. So there's that.
Who runs the runners?
Totally on another subject, I wanted to talk about the new line of Pride clothes at Target. Have you seen the stuff going on about that?
Just that it's ultra gay.
It is super ultra gay.
Whoa. Super ultra mega gay.
So I mean, it's got some of the stuff that you would expect, like love is love and trans people exist or whatever. And but the one that really got me was that they have a bathing suit in the girls section that's designed for tucking.
Oh.
And if you don't know, that's when a boy hides his boy parts to look more feminine. So Target is actually making swimsuits for boys who want to pretend that they're girls. So like if you're like, oh, it's just Pride clothes, it's okay. Not really. Like they've really crossed the line. And they also have like binders for girls so that they look like they don't have a chest.
Yeah, I was recommended. I was, sitting there online shopping. It's like people also bought this in bulk, and it was trans tape. Just in case you want to tape your parts to cover them. It's what everybody always wants. I'm like, what is this?
I couldn't hear what you said, but
okay, but it's like, yeah, I love buying medical tape to promote medical mutilation. That's great. Thanks,
Yeah.
Tim. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I also think that they have the underwear with the bulge in it for girls who want to be boys. And so, like, I know.
Oh, she's gone. Well, I don't know what to do now that I'm the captain. Well, okay. Sorry, guys. That is just the me show temporarily. Can look at the chat. How's it going?
Hey, sorry. Are we here? Are we
Sorry.
good?
Jean in the chat says guest Target has made themselves a target of a permanent boycott.
Yes. But you know,
Sorry,
I know that.
my internet is going off. Sorry for the dead air, guys.
Yeah.
It's a
Can
little
you?
awkward.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know
can
if
you hear me
anyone
now? Are
can
we
even
good?
hear me or if this is totally dead.
Yeah.
But
No. I don't know what's happening.
there we go. Okay, you're back. Sorry.
I've been back for a minute. I didn't know what was happening. So sorry, guys. I apologize.
Okay, I apologize.
But where I was going before I got knocked off was that, there's like this trope of like the moms and I go to Target and it's my happy place and I get my Starbucks and I shop and I spend all this money I shouldn't. And like we need to do to Target what people did to Bud. Like for real. They need to start feeling the wrath of the mothers who don't approve of this stuff for their children. That's really what it is. Because, there's all this women power, blah, 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 but really us conservative women who are doing all the raising and we're the ones that need to start standing up for this because it is so out of control. And like when they were showing the pride suit, I'm like, oh, that is so adorable. How sweet. Like if you had a little girl, it was really cute, like a pastel rainbow. And I was like, that is so great. And then they said for tucking. And I'm like, who in their right mind would buy that for their regular daughter? Like it has instructions on the tag of how to properly tuck with the suit. Like, so then you're just alienating more people. It's so weird, right? It's so weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, let me tell your kid exactly what to do with their man parts. It's like, oh.
But also it's in the girls section and you're still pushing it to girls. So they like.
So the little girl's like, oh, the rainbow. And
right.
runs into that. And again, it's more needless sexualization of children. It's like little girls don't need to see that. Really.
Yeah. I had more interaction on my post from months ago when I posted the picture of the parents holding the umbrella over their kids and the rainbows falling off the umbrella, like protecting them from a whole trans agenda. And a lot of the people who get really mad about it are people who identified as something and their parents or their church was super strict with them. And it makes me sad. I mean, if your kid is struggling, you should obviously be there and love them and support them. But that does not mean teaching your small child. I mean, these are suits for like elementary age children. Mm-hmm. So we're teaching our small children to talk. We're teaching it's just a very, very strange thing. And you can support your child if they are having struggles, if they are whatever. You can help them with mental health issues. You can help them with just being there for them. But I don't know the way that people are so angry about saying that I'm not going to expose my kids to these specific things. I don't understand that. Why should we be talking about them being trans when they're in elementary school? Why should we talk about all this stuff? They're not dating. They're not even holding hands with people at this age. Like, how can a 12-year-old know that she's non-binary, polyamorous? That's just terms that they're learning on the internet. We need to take their phones away. We need to protect them. We need to watch what they're looking at and consuming, and we need to support them to understand what is going on in this world. Mm-hmm. Well, that's just my soapbox for today, in case you guys wanted to know. I don't understand the whole kids thing. I really don't. Why do they want them so bad?
Mm-hmm. No. So in other news,
In other news, stop ranting, would you?
well, unless you had more to add to that.
No, I think that it strikes me hard. Yes, Jean, this is exactly it. You don't stock your house with diet foods if your child is anorexic. You do not give your anorexic kid a gastric bypass. Why would you give your mentally disturbed person that has gender dysphoria a sex change operation instead of giving them the proper care that they need?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, Anne, in other news.
Well, sorry. Let's see. Well, there is all sorts of vaccine news. The oncoming or the ongoing story of how large portions of the world are totally screwed. First off, that foreigners can now come to America without the jab. Yay! We were the last person.
Mhm.
Ridiculous. Not only that, but
I think we're taking a fund to get Neil to come over here in case anybody's interested. Not seriously, just it's a joke.
yeah. He and Tabitha were live yesterday. I caught the end of it, and he was saying how he needs to go on a blocked knitting tour around the country.
He sure does.
Hilarious. But anyways, so even though that the joke has been that he should come through the southern border, it'd be super easy for him. And quick aside before I go to the other thing, but the Border Patrol Union, a union, says that the Biden administration is corrupt to the core.
Wow.
Like, wow.
I'm surprised that they came out and said that so openly, as they kind of work for him and, that could kind of go bad.
They do. They work for him. Unions are not known for their freeness and fairness and lack of money laundering. So,
yeah. That's interesting.
Anyways, but lots of news that okay, so Andrew Bridgen in England, who was kicked out of the Conservative Party because what he was considered to be, quote, anti-Semitic, for a tweet that said that the biggest crime that the vaccines are the biggest crime against humanity since the Holocaust. Okay, this is a quote from an Israeli cardiologist.
Okay.
So, and not only that, but Naomi Wolf, she is Dr. Naomi Wolf, with full title. She is on Stein's show, and her saying basically the same thing, that is an official Ofcom complaint. So there's two that Ofcom have, after taking months and months to deliberate, have now had against the Mark Stein show. You can't say that on British television. Like I said, Andrew Bridgen saying what a horrible thing it has been for everyone, how many people have died, what sort of needless suffering this has caused, gets denounced on the floor of Parliament by Penny Mordaunt. You may remember her as the gal in blue holding the sword at the coronation. She had to read a script to denounce his awful anti-Semitism for pointing out vaccine harms. Like, that all of that happened. She's not all great, old Pence. But yeah, that it is absolutely ridiculous. A minister in Poland wrote a letter for I think Welt is the name of the newspaper. I believe it's a German paper. I'm not sure because I had the art, it was translated. But he just went off about how completely pointless not only the Pfizer vaccine itself was, but that because nobody wants it anymore, nobody wants it in Europe, nobody wants it in America, only the worst fools do, that the government contract with Pfizer is still in effect. Oh, and also notice that, while nobody wants the Pfizer, the AstraZeneca has completely disappeared very quietly and very quickly. But that the contract for the Pfizer is still going through. So because the contract is canceled, the Polish government has to pay for vaccines that never existed, then that nobody wanted. Just more money upon more money.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
But anyways, so more of the truth is coming out, and the only people who don't know are the people who actually watch daytime CNN who aren't at the airport.
You mean people can watch it when they're at other places?
Oh yeah, actually.
I didn't know that. I thought that was just something they did at the airport.
Yeah, I was about to say they have a streaming service, but wait, they don't. CNN Plus didn't work out.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I want to ask somebody who went and got their like lot number tattooed on their arm and like the big COVID thing. Like, I want to know how they feel about that now. I want to like talk to people who are doing the tattoo removals and find out how many of those they've had to do, because I bet you some of them are feeling pretty dumb right now. I can't imagine.
I don't know, though. I think if you're a, person who does ridiculous tattoos generally, I guess you just kind of have to, what other winners do they have?
Yeah, that's true. And I have to say, I was at the craft show today, the Wool Festival, and there were several people that still had masks on at the festival. And I was kind of surprised about it. There was one woman who rushed in, and like, I was pushing my mother in a wheelchair because she has trouble with her leg and she can't walk well. And so I'm pushing her over to the stand of spinning fiber, and this woman comes running up, and she had forgotten to put her mask on. But when we caught up to her around the inside of the booth, she had it on, so she was safe from us, which was a good thing. But yeah,
that
crazy people.
Very ableist of them.
It was very ableist. Ooh, I should have said that. I mean,
Are you assuming that
she had to come and cut in front of the woman in the wheelchair so that we wouldn't be in her way while she was trying to browse fibers? That's what it was. She was worried we'd be in her way, and she was so intent on getting in there that she did not put her mask on right away. It was very upsetting. No, I just don't get it. I just don't get this cult mentality. Like, what is the point of wearing a mask? If you're sick, if you're immunocompromised, I get it, but there were people running a spinning wheel. But there were people running, like, they were selling spinning wheels, and they were like, they both had it on, the man and the woman. And it's like, I mean, you're at the festival, you're doing the thing. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know.
Virtue signal, definitely. True believer status. Most
likely. Are they just in it so deep now? Like, did they like stockpile N95 masks, and now they're like, well, now I have to wear them because I spent like thousands of dollars on them? Or is it something else? I don't know. The wind is picking up. My umbrella is going to go flying.
No. Hang on.
This is a perfect day, though.
Just be Mary Poppins over the back porch while you're holding on to your umbrella.
Yes, that would work. I don't know that everybody would want to see that, though.
Makes for great television.
Although maybe some of the haters would be amused by that. Oh man, it has been a day. Oh, the end pros. There she is. So back to what you were talking about. Jean said, so she's confused. A man is declared anti-Semitic for quoting a Jewish source. I guess so, because it doesn't go with the party line. So it's amazing.
That is, in fact, the most anti-Semitic thing you can do if you quote from someone who's actually from Israel.
It's interesting. sometimes when I talk to you, I just don't even know what to say because it's well, we say it all the time, it's 1984. Like the truth isn't the truth and words don't have meaning, and like they just say things. They just say, well, you're anti-Semitic. Well, you know.
Yeah. It's like, yep, Andrew Bridgen and Naomi Wolf, who is actually, of the lineage of a Holocaust survivor. Like I think it was her grandmother. I'm sorry, I don't remember, but like had all of their siblings die. Like there was like 6 or 7 of them. Sorry to not be able to quote numbers well, but it's like, no, that is actually in Naomi Wolf's history. She is actually Jewish. She is not just, pulling this one out of her butt. She's pretty serious here. And especially she goes in depth about infant mortality rates in particular and what it has done specifically to reproductive health. And she has all of the receipts, which means, that the follow the science crowd calls her the most deniee of deniers there is.
It's I just don't even know how they can take themselves seriously, honestly, because like everything they say is like, we'll follow the science, except for if this person is saying it, or except for if it's this, or if it's about vaccines, or if it's about
except if it's Fauci saying, and Trudeau, funnily enough, saying, oh, we never said we should lock down. Oh no, never. And it's like, yeah, it's like, we have this thing called the internet, of which you are not quite in total control of yet. So yeah.
they're working on it, but it hasn't worked out quite yet. So
yeah.
Man.
We still have video. We have technology.
Yeah.
Like
doesn't everybody remember the White House meetings every day where we would talk about COVID? Mm-hmm. Like that happened, right? Or did I just dream that?
Oh, I was there. You were there. Fauci was there.
Was Toto there? Is that what makes it not real?
Maybe.
The Wizard of Oz, was the Scarecrow there? I don't know. The Scarecrow wasn't there. He's there now. Because I have a brain.
Hey, Amy's in the chat.
Hey, Amy. Anna and I had trouble getting our lives together today, but we're here.
That is true. Oh, did we talk further about RFK's presidential run now that Amy's in the chat? And it reminded me, because he's been doing the press tour.
I haven't heard anything new about him.
No,
Bongino doesn't cover it. That must be a bad thing. I will find someone new.
No, well, we talked. Sometimes we talk when we're not on camera. It may shock you all. But you said a little bit about how it's like, yes, RFK talks a good game, but he's still a Democrat. It's like,
yeah,
very true, but also, sorry, RFK is doing full the CIA killed John F. Kennedy, and he promises to get rid of the CIA if he's voted in, and it's a very big no censorship, no block anything platform, medical freedom. And I'm like, dude, I don't agree with him when it comes to lefty welfare state stuff, but it's like the guy is going full take down the CIA. It's like the CIA has not been a net positive. Listening to that guy.
Right. That's kind of crazy.
Though, okay, my bet is still that Tulsi Gabbard is Trump's VP pick, because it's ridiculous, and I think that will happen. But
you know what? My husband was telling me that, except that he couldn't remember her name and he kept calling her Nikki Haley, and I'm like, no, Trump is not going to get Nikki Haley. And he goes, yes, he is, that Democrat girl. And I'm like, you're talking about Tulsi, honey. This is now we're on a different conversation.
Yeah, the gal with the rogue gray streak in her hair. That's the one.
He was adamant that it was Nikki Haley, and I'm like, no, that's not going to happen.
But yeah, if Gene says, I hope Kennedy runs and survives. I saw this meme where it's like, yeah, he says that, he'll dismantle the CIA and that they killed his uncle. It's like the CIA have a chance to do something really fun here. And I'm like, guys, that's a little too dark. That's too far. But yeah, like I said, she's not my pick, but she's my bet.
Yes.
But a Trump Kennedy ticket, that would be incredible. That would be mind blowing.
Yeah.
And also,
I was thinking, sorry, excuse me.
You go
So,
first.
So back in the day, way back, didn't they just used to run like that? Like whoever got the most votes was president, and then whoever got the second most votes was vice president.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. Would it be worth going back to that?
Well,
I mean, we would have had a Trump Biden ticket. That would have been weird.
but yeah,
Biden Trump actually the way they did it, but
right.
yeah. This is the problem with him. Yes, he is pro baby killing.
He is pro abortion. So you have this. But if he was vice president, and it's not that, again, liberal policies that we disagree with wouldn't seep in, but Pence was an establishment guy. Nice enough dude, very establishment. But if you had someone, and that was an issue with the Trump administration, that he's going to go in and he's like, yeah, drain the swamp. And yes, Trump is very forward on that. But all the people around him, it's difficult to find a lot of people who are not swampy or who become swampy over time. It's difficult. Guy made the best effort of anyone. Good for Trump for all of that. But it's hard. If you have someone like Robert Kennedy, who hates the deep state and has a very personal vendetta about it, having that guy as a prominent figure in your administration could work out.
That is true. And I also think that there's an appeal for Tulsi Gabbard because she's not as conservative as like Trump is, but she's a Democrat, so she's kind of got that appeal of somebody who maybe agrees with some of those issues and can string a sentence together as opposed to our current VP. So there's always that.
It's very true. But she's very gun control. She's very for gun control, which is not cool. And I don't know what RFK's stance on gun control. I would assume that he's for it. But like I said, having that much of a distaste for government control is great, I think.
Yeah. Gene says they would die of confusion if Kennedy ran with Trump. What would the pro-abortion folks do? They wouldn't vote for them because Trump is anti-abortion, and I think as the president that would be the main stance. I don't see them doing it though. I just can't imagine that they would. It would be cool. Like I've been thinking about that too, but I don't think that they would do it.
Well, I mean, the thing is that Morgan's in the chat. She has a new podcast, handmade by M.E, I believe. Go check her out. I think she did a second episode. Anyways, sorry, plug for Morgan. Hi, Morgan. But the thing is that the problems that the Republican Party has is when people in the Republican Party think they know better than the base. That Trump knows what the base wants. That's why he rocked it at the CNN town hall. And there were a couple of little things in the CNN town hall that people were like, like the bit where they're talking about abortion, and he said that abortion is back to the states, and that puts pro-life people in a good position. He's always said that it going back to the states is a side issue. I'm like, no, it going back to the states is a huge issue. That having more things state by state actually makes us more free. It decentralizes things. It's much better. You don't want to discount that. But again, something that the base really is worried about is that Trump went all in on the vaccines. He didn't say that anyone had to have them. He didn't mandate them, and he let the states all have their own power. And again, that is huge thing for freedom, and saved a lot by doing that. Even though that we had the press conferences and the federal money and everything else. Still, giving the powers to the states is a huge positive. But if you stick the issues that Trump has with the vaccine, with being in support of the vaccine and other things, and you bring in RFK, who, like I said, has a lot of Democrat issues, but as being the potential second man there, again, it's not as if he doesn't have power, because he would, and you would have these issues. But if RFK is the presidential candidate, okay, then all the people he hire are going to be full lefties, okay? And maybe they're freedom-loving lefties, gotta love the freedom-loving lefties that exist somewhere. I'm sure they do. But it's all going to be leftists. If you have the Trump administration, and we see the issues that he had with his cabinet and other thing before, but if you have that come along with pure freedom, stop censorship, that might be a workable mix. Maybe it's a trash fire, but that is, yeah, not. And also, well, but that's the thing, though, that it's like, at this point, who would you trust more, Pence or RFK? Who do you trust out of all these potential swampy candidates to have someone so out from left field? And also, again, very anti-vaccine, very pro-freedom. That makes the base happy, as opposed to other people, which may squish. So, give the people what they want. That's all I'm saying.
No, I think it would be great, but Amy said in the comments that she doesn't think that he'll make it past the primary, and I'm sure because he is not an established. He wants to decentralize get rid of the CIA and take back some of the stuff, and that's not anything that the Democrats want. They will not give one iota of power, and we all know that. And so anybody who is trying to say that, they're not gonna go for it. But it's true, still nice to see.
But even if he doesn't get past the Democrat primary, which I don't think he will, that doesn't mean he can't be Trump's VP. I'm interested to see. I'm not saying it's likely. It's possible. I like the possibility.
I was kind of like all for like a Trump DeSantis ticket, and now I think that would be terrible. I don't know.
And again, it's like, it's not that DeSantis hasn't done well for Florida. Good for him and all the things. But why does he have all of the, Bush Republican Jeb swamp money all of the sudden? And why hasn't he announced yet?
Right.
It's getting weird, and he's getting petty. That's not a positive thing.
They completely ignore what their own side is doing. They're so brainwashed they'd vote for a carrot over Trump. That is true.
But
sorry. My children are standing over here at the door reminding me that it's supper time. So what about anything else that we didn't remember to talk about now that everything has finally worked itself out?
Oh, perfectly. Well, there's a little bit of Twitter news. There's a new CEO. She looks rather liberal, but
yeah. I hadn't heard this, but DeSantis said he won't be anything but president. So there you go. You won't have a Trump DeSantis ticket. Yeah, I saw that about the CEO, and now everybody's like, oh, Elon's telling you who he is. And I'm like, well, maybe, but he never said he was conservative. He said he was for free speech. So is he telling you who he is, or is he just doing what he does because he's not worried about that? Like,
or is this good for marketing because it makes people upset and he can do something different next week?
That's also an option. And I also was reading that people are like, well, he's kind of like out of touch, and he doesn't really understand what people think about certain things. And, so I don't know if that's the case, but it's interesting.
Nobody can meme the way Papa Elon does and be out of touch.
Yeah, that is true. I'm not part of the piggybacking on Kendra's comment about they'd vote for a carrot. Well, they elected a potato, so there you go. Sorry.
Yeah, and I I assume that's reference to DeSantis about he strikes me as being very smug. Yes. Again, weirdly smug. You don't need to be smug when you've done well.
Yeah.
Like, good for Florida. Why are you this way?
And also, I think that he's trying to take on some of the Trumpisms because Trump is very out there and showy, but that's his personality. It's how he's always been. Like, that's not something you can put on like a coat. Like, it doesn't fit everybody. It's not. Yeah.
Oh,
Morgan says Elon, and yeah.
Sorry, wrong person. No, but that's, I don't know. It's one of the things with DeSantis, and so I remember once it was somebody kind of knocking on Christie. Now, not that the Missy Christie is perfect, but it's like, why are you knocking Christie Nome for being all like, well, we never locked down, when DeSantis, is turning orange for his health? Like, what do you think he's trying to play to the crowd for?
Right. I think that there's a lot of that, and I think that him trying to emulate Trump actually makes him way less appealing, because as his own dude, he was doing really well doing his stuff, but now he's showing his true colors with the Jeb money and the Cruz campaign manager and stuff, and it's just, he looks like he's going to be every other establishment person, and I don't.
Right. And it's all of the people who are far too reasonable for plain good sense. It's like, oh, well, we're not like going to go with Trump. No, why would we do that? It's like, I don't know, Trump is effective. Well, he's mean. It's like, he's doing, again, what the people want. And not only what the people want, what all of the establishment Republicans have promised the people for years that they said that they would do, and they got elected on, and then they disappointed the people after they did not do what they say they do. They do a little bit here and there, and he has actually done what they said, got in, busted in, was better than his word on so many things, like cutting regulations and foreign relations and all of these different things. And then he was more loved than they were, and they got petty, and they just envious and mean. And now it's like, oh, well, but we have our new, white knight now, Ron DeSantis, who will do, I'm sorry. And again, you hope in a way that you hope that he would be better than this, but he's got all the big boy money now. He's going to do exactly what they tell him to do. He's already hired the campaign managers, and whoever advice he's taking, again, if he wanted to run, he should have said he's running by now. Okay.
Right. I don't know what he's doing. And Morgan said, is it sad that I'd rather have that than Biden? No, I think everybody wants Biden to go, because we all know that this is just more terms for Obama, and things are going to shit faster than you can say it. So obviously we want anything else, but I was on the fence, but we won't have a minute of peace if Trump wins. 4 years of misery can.
Oh, no. Sorry, but it's like, no, we won't have a minute of peace. Yeah, Trump derangement is not going to stick with Trump. The derangement is here. It's going to be whoever derangement. DeSantis derangement, who it doesn't. DeSantis will become, in the media's eyes, if he is elected, every bit as awful as Trump.
Yeah.
Okay, George W. Bush, again, for all of his faults, was the very devil. Okay. And again, the Bush family ain't known for being exciting.
It's true. But yeah, it's they're if another Republican got in, I don't honestly see anybody winning that's not Trump. I don't know. I have to see what goes on the next few months. But
okay,
if anybody gets in that's not a Democrat, they're gonna just lose their minds. They just because it's turned into this good versus evil. They think they're better than us, and that anybody who doesn't support their entire woke religion is just a piece of trash. And so if anybody gets in that's not their pick, it's gonna be awful. And that's just what it is.
Well, and also, not to mention, okay, so there's plenty of election crap itself to be worried about. So not that isn't an issue. I know it, you know it, we all know it. Okay. But also that they're doing other stupid stuff. Like, we don't just have not Trump, Biden doing the whole weird red background, evil MAGA Republicans fist clenched screaming, which is bizarre that he got up on, it was a black college campus, saying that white supremacy is the biggest problem that we have now. And naturally, if you don't think it is, it's because you're a white supremacist. It's a charming little kafta trap there. But right now, like today, there's estimated 150 to 200 people from the Patriot Front, and they're marching on DC. And it's Fed. It's the Fed uniform. They're wearing khaki pants and a blue polo shirt, which everyone has if you're a Fed, and their faces are covered in glasses. And here's the thing. They're marching. They're not marching as in they're in square lines and they're doing a parade. They're marching as in they're walking and they're naturally getting to a marching rhythm together. Like, it's not all at once. It's no, this is something they're accustomed to doing when they're walking in a group and they're getting in the rhythm. And you're like, oh, you're doing much better than a lot of extras for medieval movies right now. And and there isn't a fat one among them, which, wow, that's crazy. Look at all these fit white dudes in polo shirts. Huh. And they're wearing shields, which is bizarre, but they seem to be used to wearing shields, which is more bizarre. I wonder where all of these men came from. And also it's like, hi, mega Republican here. Do you know a single person part of the Patriot Front sharing Patriot Front videos, Patriot Front blog, Patriot Front influencers? No, not a single one. That's crazy. I can't believe that this happened. But anyway.
Yeah. I haven't heard about them. I'll have to look into that some more.
That's the thing, though.
entertaining.
Unless the media brought it up, it wouldn't exist because we're all like, yeah, nice try.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. Like, my husband owns polo shirts, but he only wears them if he has to go into the office, which happens like once a year. So,
right.
Or that's his idea of getting dressed up sometimes. Like, oh, we're gonna go out to dinner. I'll put a polo on for you. Like, Kendra says Tucker for president. I don't know. A lot of people don't like him either. I like him, but I can't wait to see what he does with Twitter.
He's fine. I'm a fan of Tucker. I know Tucker isn't a fan of Trump, which is also your own prerogative, but he's good. I don't know. Tucker's an old school elitist, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it makes for an interesting thing.
It does. I don't know. We will see more as things happen, but I have to run, feed my people. So, hey, this is just like a Tuesday show. I gotta go feed the people now. So
that's what happens.
But thanks for coming. Thanks for sticking with us through the trouble we had. Make sure you check out Lynn at Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. Use the code military20 PIK for 20% off your order. This month we're giving out Rapunzel, which is that beautiful MCM base, right?
It is. It is lovely. Here, I'll even get it closer. And if you comment below, you can enter to win.
Ooh, it'll be beautiful. So comment. Make sure, and you have to comment once this is not live, because these comments go poof somewhere and they're never seen again.
And also, I love you all. I love you all very dearly, and I love each and every one of you for all of your support. I am not counting live chat comments so we can see who a winner is. Okay. I love
that
you.
Is true.
But also, I'm not
gonna. They can get kind of crazy, and that's how we find winners. We count the comments to figure out who's what number. So that can get kind of overwhelming. But yeah, we're glad you guys joined us. Thank you for coming, hanging out with us Saturday night. We will see you soon. Feed the baby birds so they go strong. My kids are fine, but yes, they were both rubbing their tummies, acting like they hadn't eaten in many, many days. So I have to go do it. But thanks, guys. We will see you later. All right. Bye.